Welcome back, one and all, to the Up North Live digital studio. We're reporting live on our Facebook page, Up North Live, as well as, I believe, YouTube and X, not Twitter. It's X now, remember that. I have my good friends James Cook and Brendan Quealy of the Traverse City Record Eagle joining us for some playoff talk, because if you didn't know, high school football's regular season has wrapped up, and we are now entering the postseason this Friday. Selection Sunday was last Sunday. All these important dates. Keep in mind, Halloween's next Tuesday. Yep, we got it all set. We're going to start with the trick-or-treat of round one. Guys, pick your favorite matchup for this opening weekend of the high school football state tournaments. I'll start with James. James, you start.
I think I got to go with Charlevoix against Traverse City St. Francis, round two of that game. The first one was a great one that went into overtime with St. Francis pulling out a very close win in that one. And Charlevoix has reeled off 8 straight wins since then. So I think that this should be one of the better games around.
Okay. Brendan?
I'll take Lake City and Manistee. I think both of those teams have the ability to put points on the board, and you're looking at a Manistee team that had some big wins last season in the playoffs, so they have that confidence coming in. And Lake City has a ton of talented athletes that could really make that an incredibly competitive game and one to watch this week.
All right, and the beauty of this segment is in the playoffs, I get to contribute too. This is a classic roundtable style. You guys get to talk about the games during the year. I'm going to pick Petoskey Marquette. 2 teams are in the Big North Conference this year, and it was a really close game. It's at Marquette, once again, like it was in the regular season. Redmond won that one 21-20, but that's going to give Petoskey a little extra incentive to hone in and try and get that game now here in the playoffs, knowing it's a win or go home scenario. So I think all 3 of those games are very intriguing, and I like their picks right out of the gate for our playoff preview so far. All right, guys, some of these teams, here's the whole list of matchups for our Up North Live viewing area. You can't really see because I'm far away from the monitor, but
how many do you have, Harrison? How many teams do you have?
I didn't count the total, but it's usually about around 10 more than you guys.
Okay.
Right about.
Yeah, because we're at 17. We've got 15 games that we're going to cover
probably right
this
in the
week.
mid to high 20s. I didn't count. I probably should have, but hey, they don't start till Friday, so I got time to count. But we're going to count on you guys now to give us the sleepers in this tournament. Before we pick finals favorites, which is maybe what people want to hear about the most, we want to know which sleepers are in this field that you think could pull an upset or two. Hey, maybe they're going to end up in the Final Four or maybe even a state championship game. What do you guys think? We'll start with you, Brendan.
I think for me, it's the team that I've been talking about since last year and certainly since this preseason, and that's the Grayling Vikings. I've been waiting for them to get hot, and they are doing that right now. They've won their last 3 games and outscored their opponents 127-14. That includes a shutout. You have senior quarterback Ethan Kaharick and senior running back Jake Husband leading that team right now with a really, really solid defense. This was a team that I talked about before the season even started as someone I thought was a state contender. And I think that now because they're getting hot at the right time. This is a team that you do not want to face in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a team that was a semifinalist, I believe, in the COVID year, 2020. So Eric Tunney's got those boys rolling on all cylinders right now, and they've been on deep runs before, so we certainly wouldn't be surprised to see it again.
In fact, they beat Negaunee, I think, 56-26 in the regional championship game. So
look at this guy. All right, came to play. Were you on Michigan-football.com before we started?
No, I was on MHSAA.com and Michigan-football.com / all 11 player teams.html.
I like MHSAA, but Michigan-football.com, it's got all the color schemes and everything.
The history, man. It's got everything.
Like vintage. Yeah, it feels like you're diving into your dads.
It makes us look smart.
Yeah, whoever created that guy deserves the utmost of promotions. All right, James, who do you got as a sleeper in this field?
I'm going to go in Division 8 with East Jordan. I think, that the teams are still, they're 8-1, and they're still like teams are kind of doubting them. They're not even the number 1 seed in their district. They've got Ishpeming to open up the season this week on Saturday, and then they get the winner of Iron Mountain and Glen Lake. But I just see them as being a team that can make a run. They've been able to win some blowout games against decent teams, and they've been able to win some very close games against a very good Frankfort team. Their only losses to a team is Charlevoix, who's also an excellent team. It's 8-1, bigger school. So I think that Adam Grabowskis and Russell Corbin can Cole Russell can bring them through. Sorry, switching tabs.
It's all right. That's okay. Roundtable preview. There's a lot of tabs up for debate. And
James, I love you going out on a limb and taking an 8-1 team as a sleeper.
Hey, they're not the top seed in their division, even.
No, I
District.
think that's a good point.
I still believe last year was their first playoff win in history, correct? At Frankfurt. Yeah. So for a legacy pick, which they're in the legacy division, I think that's I see where you're coming from, Brendan. But James, I think we'll allow it if I'm the judge in this court proceeding here.
Hey, that's just gentle ribbing between coworkers. That's all.
Ribbing. All right. Well, don't hit his ribs too hard.
I was being gentle with it.
Well, I mean, off air. You guys may or may not agree with my pick. I know Charlevoix is not going to like me saying this, but I feel like St. Francis has the chance to be a sleeper once again. I mean, they're Traverse City, St. Francis. Nobody would be shocked to see them rattle off a couple playoff wins. They beat the Raiders on the road already this year. Now, I think Charlevoix is going to have that in their minds heading into that game this Friday night. But would a St. Francis run deep in the tournament? Would it catch me off guard? Yeah, but would it totally shock me knowing who's in charge of that program and what they've been capable of in the past and could do again? No. So I think if I'm having to pick another sleeper in this field, I will go with the Glads to be, as nobody would even deny that. It's not even really a sleeper. It's Traverse City St. Francis in a bracket in Division 7. So you're looking at them directly. But at a 4-4 record, what, James, you might know, is that the worst record they've ever had in the postseason? I think they were a 5-4 playoff team like 10 years ago, but usually they're up there in the 6, 7, 8, 9 win range. So
yeah, usually. I mean, they've snuck in at like 5-4 a couple of times, but most of the time they're 7-8 wins almost every year.
Yep. So by record alone, I'm gonna nominate them as a sleeper. But either way, that round one game should be a lot of fun, and I think whoever wins that game has a great chance to go up to Iron Mountain. Or sorry, not Iron Mountain, Menominee. Yes, Menominee. Looking at my cheat sheet.
Menominee.
Those UP teams, they blend together, and you just so Western UP. We love the Eastern UP here at UpNorthLive.
Harrison, do you get live comments on this?
If I do, I haven't seen any. Hey, we encourage you, if you're watching at home, tell us why our picks are right. Tell us why our picks are wrong.
I was just wondering if anyone was typing in and calling you a homer for picking 4-4 Traverse City St. Francis.
Well, I didn't go to Traverse City St. Francis.
Yeah, so but you live and work in Traverse City.
I do. Hey, I went down the list. I liked your pick the best, honestly, of Grayling. But if I got to pick somebody on this list to pull an upset and maybe 2 or 3 more, put my money on the Glads. All right.
Grayling was finally making me look smart. So I picked them early in the season.
Let's hope they don't get bounced by the Miners.
Well, we'll see.
Let's go to the state finals now, boys. They're coming up in 4 weeks for the 8-player teams, 5 weeks for I think it's now 3 weeks for the 8-player teams, 4 weeks for the 11-man teams at the Superior Dome and Ford Field, respectively. So we have some teams now. Brendan, you and I did the season preview at the beginning of the year. We kind of talked like, I don't know how many of these teams really have, maybe what it takes to make a run, or at least for sure ensure themselves a spot in it. Whereas in years past, we've had 1 or 2 teams that we just kind of circled. Yeah, they're probably going to be there until somebody really pulls a major upset. But who are you guys looking at, regardless of division, regardless of 8 or 11-man? Who are you picking to make it all the way to a championship game? If you had to put your house money on just one team, James, we'll start with you.
Well, if we're going with our coverage area, I would say Inland Lakes. If we're going with your coverage area, I would say Pickford. I just like that the way that 8-man bracket is set up. It seems like outside of Inland Lakes, St. Ignace, and Pickford, all the big name teams are in the lower half of the bracket. So I think one of those teams can really come out of there. I like Inland Lakes. I like what they've been doing, and I like Pickford to get some revenge if they get St. Ignace.
Well, then you like the revenge. I want you to make the pick now. If the Bulldogs and the Panthers meet in the semifinals, who's winning out? My viewing area or your coverage area?
I would say Pickford. If it's Inland Lakes versus Pickford in the semifinal there, I would go with Pickford just based on their history. They've got a history doing this, and and they've had some really nice wins this season. So is Inland Lakes, but Pickford's had a little bit bulkier schedule, I would say.
Yeah, Pickford won the state title, I believe, in 2018, 2019 up there at the Superior Dome. So the Panthers are well aware of what it's like to play there, and I appreciate the bold pick there. Guys, quick side question. Are we surprised? I know it's all by playoff points, so it's all computed, but Gaylord St. Mary not making the field, even after playing Inland Lake so tough on Saturday.
Yeah, we lost, or we didn't get three that I thought were going to get in this 3, 6, and 3 teams from the 8-man. So Gaylord St. Mary, Mesick, and the third one I'm blanking on right now. But yeah, I thought for sure Gaylord St. Mary would be. I mean, that was a team that I was kind of eyeing early in the season as a possible Superior Dome destiny.
Right. And I know that that's all computed in your schedule, and there's really nothing much more you can do about that. It's just kind of shocking to see a team be that competitive in their own conference and to miss out on the playoffs. Brendan, we're on to you for your state finals pickup choice.
Well, we all know that before the season started, I picked 0 teams to make it to the state finals in our coverage area. And I know everyone was really happy with that pick, me showing faith in our local teams. But if I have to pick one and bet the house that I just bought, I would put it all on Kingsley because I think that they're probably the best 7-2 team in the state. They have the best offense in Division 6. And in these playoffs, especially high school playoffs, offense is going to win you championships, and they have a defense that can win championships as well. So between Eli Graves and Isaiah Cosgrove, Skylar Workman, Gavin Merchant, that team is stacked from top to bottom on both sides of the ball. And Tim Moore, as I've said this many times before, is one of, if not the best coaches in Michigan. So that is my team to make it to Detroit and to Ford Field.
Yeah, we were kind of talking off air, that we have a lot of local teams in that semifinal portion of the Division 6 bracket, and a lot of good teams that could probably give Kingsley some games here, particularly circling a potential Kingsley-Manistee game in round 2 that could be very intriguing. But it's hard to see one of those teams, if Kingsley's at the top of their game, it's hard to see one of those teams knocking them off unless Kingsley makes a lot of mistakes, and I don't really see that coming from a Tim Moore team, quite frankly. But that is why you play the games. Think what? What's the famous coach that said that? Jim Morris Sr. You play to win the game. That's what he said. Never mind.
James, who was that? James, who was that team that Kingsley played that you went and covered and they lost, and they were able to hold Eli Graves?
Ogama Heights.
Yeah. So I would assume that any team that's going to be playing Kingsley is going to be studying that film every night and every morning and every afternoon.
I think you got to be big. I think you got to add like 50 pounds each if you're going to contend with Kingsley.
I'm working on it. I bought a bag of Halloween candy to add or to hand out to the children in my neighborhood, and there's like a small bowl left of it right now, and it's sitting next to my chair, and I just eat it pretty much all day.
Got 6 more days to buy more. So
hey, I'm leaving right after this to go to Meyer.
Did you just that? I wait for November 1st to get my candy because let's face it, you save a bunch of money that way. So plus I don't expect trick-or-treaters. I wouldn't even be at home if there were trick-or-treaters anyways. I'll be working next Tuesday night. I haven't made my finals pick
I'll be
yet.
working. Most likely.
You leave the dish out that nobody would dare take more than one piece. It seems weird. Yes. Do we think there's a strong possibility of this happening? Maybe, maybe not, especially with them being kind of new to this amount of success. But it seems to me like it'd be a shame if we did not bring up Gaylord in a playoff preview. One of our few 9-0 teams might have been. Is it your guys' only 9-0 team from your area?
Yep.
So such a dominant year for the Blue Devils. Obviously, Division 3 is a higher division. They're going to have to go through some strong programs downstate when they get deep into the tournament. But we saw Cadillac make the state finals 3 years ago. We saw Traverse City Central make the state finals 2 years ago. So I'm of the belief that it's very possible for a Big North Conference team to go on that run and the way they've been running the ball and just dominating opponents and just looking just a notch above. They're going to get some tests, no doubt about it. But with you guys having your picks locked up, I see no other way around it. I've been telling everybody when they ask me who's the best team in Northern Michigan, I think especially because Gaylord beat Kingsley in that matchup in week 2, it's looked like Gaylord this whole year. And so here we are on the precipice of the playoffs. Why wouldn't I pick the Blue Devils? I got that softball state title in tow. So maybe that rolls right over here into the fall and they head down to Ford Field and maybe bring home another state title to Otsego County. So I'm going the Blue Devils for my state finals pick. Boys, anything else playoff-wise you want to touch on before we wrap up?
I think Gaylord is a great pick. Obviously, it's again, that's not really going out on a limb when you pick a 9-0 team, but it's also the smart pick because they have an incredible team and very fast. I think Russell Hush he might be a state champion sprinter in track and field. I know that he maybe a regional champion, but the kid is fast and athletic, and you don't have to see it in person to know it. I've watched a couple of Gaylords on stream and seen that kid run and just completely outwork everybody else on that field. I love the Gaylord Blue Devils. I think they have a very, very, very good chance of not only making it to Ford Field, but winning the whole damn thing.
Oof. All right. I think that's an acceptable swear. I think we're in 2023. I think.
Darn
Thing. That's all right. James, anything else playoff-wise you want to add?
One of the other matchups that I really like in that first round is Ogama against Gladwin, defending state champions from last year against Ogama, who they beat Kingsley, and it's a rematch of week 1. So in the opposite field this time, but so Ogama is at home this time. Gladwin won at home in week 1. So those rematch games for playoffs usually tend to be pretty good.
You do. All right. I want to do one more bonus question here while we're on the live stream.
Did we get any points for this, Harrison? Is this like around the horn? Like,
yeah, Tony Reale. I'm buzzing.
Can you give me points?
Yeah, Meyer. You'll get MPerks points. That's what.
Oh, perfect. I need them. I'm going to Meyer right after this.
I know. I'm literally digitally transferring them to you right now. You said Grayling for your sleepers, so we'll rule them out of this question. But let's say Boyne City going to Gladstone, Benzie Central going to Menominee, Glen Lake going to Iron Mountain. Which one of those heavy underdogs, probably on paper, has the best chance to pull off an upset of a Lower Peninsula team going to the Western UP?
James, I'll let you pick first. Since neither of us is going to pick Glen Lake.
You can pick the same team.
Since neither of us is going to what?
Pick Glen Lake. They're not beating Iron Mountain.
You never know. I mean,
that is true. You never know, and I'm an idiot, so I don't know anything really. But
yeah,
Iron Mountain has allowed like 53 points this season, and they average 50 a game.
Yeah,
so
it's a very daunting task for Glen Lake. And Glen Lake if they're going to win that game, they're going to have to just assert their size on the offensive line and try to grind this one out.
They have to play perfect.
Yes, they do. They're going to have all three of these teams may have to play perfect games to win. Benzie Central has a very good quick strike offense, so I could see them staying in any game on the road. And so I guess I go with Benzie Central.
You go Benzie. All right, James or Brendan.
I'm going to take Benzie too. I think that again they have the benefit of getting that win in the playoffs last year, and I think that they are primed to do that again this year.
All right, and I will take Boyne City because they have the shortest drive. Let's face it, if you don't have to spend that much money on gas, if you were able to get a good meal at home before you head over there, then maybe you'll be all right.
Well, we know the players are concerned about the school's budget for gas, so that's obviously
it's a hot button issue at school board meetings.
It's a big one.
Yeah, where are we going to get the gas? Gas Buddy? Do they still use Gas Buddy? That's what we used in high school.
You know what? I might get some gas when I go to Meyer because I got the Meyer credit card and I get 10 cents off the gallon. So I might fill up. Who knows?
Look at you. We're just lining you up for all sorts of shopping items.
Sponsorship deals all over.
Well, since this is my last appearance on this show after dropping the D word, I guess we'll
D word. You devil, you. All right. Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything. We even scraped the bottom of the barrel for some pointless chatter, which is always good for Facebook Lives. Appreciate you guys, as always, helping me with these playoff previews. I know it's been decades since I've been on the Get Around podcast that you guys do every week, but I assume that's because I said something that made me banned from that. So I'll just conclude.
Yeah, you said the X word. So
Twitter? X?
Yep. That's what it was.
No. Don't blame me. Blame the guy who owns the company. All right. That's going to do it for us here.
So does James.
I do too.
UpNorthLive Digital Studio. Be sure to check the Traverse City Record Eagle out for their great playoff coverage coming this weekend, no doubt. And, of course, Hometown Highlights. This Friday night, we'll have a bunch of your games recapped and covered, all the scores, everything you need to know. 2 great sources for local Northern Michigan sports media right here in your tri-box. So,
Let's do this every week. This is fun. Let's do this
let's
every
do
week.
this every day, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. wake-up call.
Nope. That's about the time I'm going to sleep.
Isn't that when you guys used to do your radio hits at like 6 a.m.?
Yeah, but I'd wake up to their phone call and roll over.
Go back to sleep.
And then I would, sometimes I'd fall asleep on the phone with them. That is true. That happened.
That's a real sleeper pick right there. Tell you what. All right, boys. Thank you again. And thank you for anybody watching on Facebook Live, or maybe you're Facebook taped and watching this when we did it live earlier. So have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the playoffs.